Hello, I'm Hee Ahn from Korea University. My presentation title is Minimal Language for Teaching Korean Traditional Fairy Tale. In this study, I used the traditional fairy tale. Traditional fairy tale as a text for Korean cultural education for foreigner. Using minimal language, I made a teaching learning plan including semantic explication and plot synopsis and cultural script. So the purpose of my study are to propose a teaching learning plan of Korean culture through traditional fairy tale in Korean language education. And second, to provide a way of utilizing minimal language as an easy-to-read approach when students learn Korean traditional fairy tale. As a text, I used the well-known traditional fairy tale in Korea, The Old Man with a Lump. And when creating instructional material, I applied the minimal language developed by NSM. Semantic primes and its semantic molecules were used. So in this study, as an instructional material, I made a plot synopsis and semantic explication and a cultural script by using minimal language. First, I made an easy-to-read rewriting of the plot synopsis of The Old Man with a Lump. A similar study was conducted in Denmark by Christensen et al. 2019. And next, I made a semantic explication of 도깨비, which is the main character of this story. This part is influenced by Habib 2011 study. This study devised semantic templates about non-human beings such as ghosts and fairies and elves and nymphs. I adapted these semantic templates to make the semantic explication for 도깨비, which is also a non-human being in Korea. Instructors can give the semantic explication of 도깨비, which is a cultural concept of Korea to help students understanding before reading the story. And next, I made a cultural script of 권선징악. 권선징악 is the main theme of this story and also very important Korean cultural value. So to help students understand this concept, I made a cultural script of 권선징악 using minimal language. Yeah. So I made a teaching learning plan for Korean culture and Korean as a foreign language. This plan consists of before and during and after reading activities. Before reading, the semantic explication and plot synopsis will be provided. And during reading, students will read the main story. And after reading, the cultural script will be provided. This is a picture of this story. These two old men had lumps on their faces. This man was good and this man was bad. So in the story, they met 도깨비, which was a non-human being. After meeting 도깨비, the good old man took off the lump and became very rich. And the bad old man attached another lump like this as a result of his bad behavior. So this is the first teaching material using minimal language. This plot synopsis will be provided before reading a main text. Text written in minimal language can be easily read by learners who do not have a high level of language skill. So A part says that this story is a traditional fairy tale, and B describes the character and background and event. And also this is an event of good old man. And C is an event of the bad old man, and D is the ending of the story. So this is not a complete version. It's still developing. And this is semantic explication of 도깨비. This will be provided before reading the main text as well. So 도깨비 is a unique non-human being of Korea, and two old men met 도깨비 in this story. So to fully understand the story, foreign learner need to understand what 도깨비 is first. For students who don't have a deep understanding of 도깨비, the semantic explication with minimal language can be provided as a good instructional material. To make the semantic explication of 도깨비 like this, as I mentioned earlier, I applied the semantic template, which is devised to explain non-human being terms such as ghost and fairies in Habib's study. This semantic template consists of category, existential status, and typical attributes, and number, and location, and nature, non-human being versus people, visual representation, and relation with people. Now this is also still developing. This is the cultural script of 권선징악. 권선징악 means advocating good and punishing evil. This is the theme of the story, main story, and it is cultural value that has been handed down for a long time in Korea. After reading story, it's important for students to think deeply about the topic of the story. So in this study, I studied how to use minimal language when teaching Korean culture using traditional fairy tale to foreign learner. Advantage of using minimal language in terms of Korean language education is that learners who do not have a high level of Korean proficiency can easily access text written in the minimal language. And I think the minimal language can be good teaching learning tool in Korean cultural education. So through this study, I wanted to show on applicability of using minimal language to teach Korean traditional fairy tale. This is reference. So if you have any question, please email me. My email address is veronica.ahn.525@gmail.com. Because the time given this presentation is short, I couldn't show you the detailed plan, but if anyone wants this, please email me. Thank you so much.